Okay, so the recording had started and we can get rolling. We have covered quite a bit on, the search queries, covered all the advanced operators. Um, we were going to do the notations and symbols, but what I've decided is that in the complex search queries, we have all of those actually used in those queries. So those will be displayed and we'll cover them as well. I'm just reviewing quickly just my the notes and the PowerPoints to see if there was anything important to discuss in the class or if we left anything out. Because I've picked all these queries that you see in the PowerPoint, they're actually put together and I've listed them just for us to work on. Seems that there are quite a bunch of these. Sorry, excuse me. As you can see right here, I've saved them as notes, but these are all search queries. They start from 1 through, well, I have like 60 pulled in from, PowerPoints and the book together for you to practice. And for anyone who's listening to this recording, would they should go to their notes file and look up the queries excuse me, that are for that has a date of 21st of June. So go in there and look up all these and practice with them and you can come up with your own notes to see what the outcome was and if it was correct. Because some of these queries are older ones, and they may not be as accurate, but you can always fine tune it or you can fix any irregularities. Now I'm going to be more selective, I guess, to run them in the class because not possible to run all 60 of them. And because these are blended in such a way that it covers a lot of ground for the typical queries we do for doing, searches to find people, places, relationships, background checks, uh, you know, products and services, and so those are the typical ones, news, and things like that. So let's start with the first one. Um, Now, with the way this query is written, you can tell what the objective of the query or what the objective of your search is. Okay, so that is the first thing that you will have to notice when you're running these in your own browsers. So in the first one, you could see that, and I don't know if I should zoom in because if it is legible enough and you can read it, then that's fine. More better. Okay. So in the first one, you could see that the objective is to find the phone number of Mr. Naveed Manzoor, myself, uh, to ensure that it is coming from a PDF source. And a main restrictor or major restrictor here is a site aofirs.org. So to query it inside of the domain aofirs.org with the site operator, look for the name Naveed Manzoor should be present in any of those PDFs that are part of the domain. And within that, you also want to query the phone numbers that could start with 905 or 647 or 416. All three of these belong to, or at some point were my phone numbers, and also those of AOFIRS. So it should be somewhere where the numbers or the entire phone number, and the search would know, by the way, that these are the area codes of phone numbers. That's pre-programmed somewhat, is part of its collected information tables, which, along with zip codes and some other important sort of numbers that has a meaning, for it to understand or interpret it. So for the ones that starts as telephone numbers, it would know automatically from its listing. So that's what we were trying to do. Now, if I have to run this query, I'll just simply copy and paste it. Um, and I think in the case of what is to be covered in this session today, it's an important one. We want to, you know, talk less and do the hands-on as much as possible. So I'm just going to keep copying and pasting, just be more brief than I was right now. It should be very quick so that we can cover as many of these query searches. Now, here I'm going to run it. What did I get? These two results only. So two PDFs I was able to get. Let's go to the first one. Let me open this one. Naveed Manzoor is here. The phone number starting with 905 is here. So the document is found, and this is a PDF document. Successful. Fine. Let's go to the next one. Here I wrote David, followed by asterisk, meaning that I don't know the last name of David. It is, pretty much open with the asterisk. It's obvious that, it has to be a name or somewhat a mention of David somewhere, followed by the name David. More than likely, it should be the last name. We don't know the last name, but we want to enclose it within quotation marks to make sure that there is a demarcation or there is no unending kind of a string that is going to leave it so open that the search would get confused. So we put a quotation marks and made it look for something followed by David and stop right there. Then we've got the word Orlando, which is a city, again, a context. That is important. Then we've got the telephone, the name telephone as it is spelled could be important, but at the same time it should ideally should not be enforced, because telephone people sometimes write it, sometimes they even use a short form like TEL, or they use phone, PHONE. We don't know what it could be, but just you know just to make it be there, for the search to look for it, not as a mandatory search, but as an option, we can do that. Um, yes. Yes, I corrected that because there was a little bit of a mistake in the book. Why? Because when you look at the word Toronto and you follow the stem of the search, the query, you could see that this is 32835. These are zip codes, and 32839, they belong to Orlando. So that's why there could have been a little bit of a confusion, and they would just sort of fight against each other. So this is the reason I corrected it, and you may want to do that also. Okay, so here, did you try these, Tristan, on your own? Was any of these giving any problems, or did you check them out, or just looking at it right now? Just out of curiosity to know if you actually was able to run some of these queries. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? The 32835, I noticed when I was running this one, I saw that there could be this issue. So I corrected it on my end. And if you'd like, you can do that as well, just so that you can make a note. I mean, it would still work, but not as accurately. That's why I thought it needed some, you know, some changes. So let's take this one, just copy and simply I'm just going to copy and paste it. Here, what I would like for you to look at carefully is the notation like two dots here between 32835 and 32839. These two dots uh, are used as symbol for giving a range of numbers between um, two two numbers, mostly numeric, but sometimes it does take alphanumeric like dollar signs. But let's suppose 32835 can be followed by 32836, 7, 8 until 9. So that's the range between, that is what is symbolic of these two dots in between. So I've just simply copied this one and I'm looking for numbers that start with 877, 800, 8, they're written in different formats. And if I just simply paste this one in this and see what it does. By the way, there is some problem. Google is having trouble with controlling the two dots right now. It's not coming as accurate as it's supposed to be. For whatever reason, they're still trying to figure it out. And, it does happen off and on when they make some changes on their end, or maybe these two dots are contradicting something or conflicting with something, we don't know. Anyway, we'll give it our best shot. This is the query and I'm going to run it now. So what was I looking for? David. Doesn't matter what is the last name, but any Davids in Orlando. Important for us is to look for phone numbers 187 800. Okay, so these are the numbers showing 1-800s, 1 in dash 800, all different formats as 1-877. Yeah. The other part is this thing, the range with 32835 to 32839. These are the zip codes. So it could be 32835, 836, 837, and here it is 32836. And by the way, if you don't get to see some of these listed or shown here in the description portion as a highlighted part or as emphasized numbers or whatever you're searching for, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. They will definitely be there, only that sometimes they don't show up in the description as usual. But when you click on the link and you go on the page, you will discover these 100%. They will be there. So don't think that this is the only check or for you to find in the highlighted part of wherever it is on the snippet. It can be on the page itself, right? Now, so you can run it like this, as you can see. All right. Then I'm going to go to the next one. This one is to find my phone number. So if you don't know the phone number, the middle three digits of my phone, but you remember the last four or the first three, you could perhaps this. You put it within quotation to sort of give it a parameter, to give it, some boundary for the asterisk to work and to make relationship of what is on its left and the right hand side. So now if you look at how it is presented and put in within the quotes, now the asterisk definitely knows that it is the area code on the left hand side and the last four digits of some number. And therefore the missing part, the middle part, has to be the middle three numbers for the phone. Let's look at the fourth one. Here we have used the in text as an advanced operator to look for the word contact us, because whenever we write in text colon, we are saying that for the search to look for this on the page itself or in the body of text somewhere in the middle portion of the page, or anywhere in the content of that web page, not necessarily in the header portion, but definitely so in the body of text. So that's where you're going to use in text. So in text colon, look for contact us. On that page, you would find either telephone or the word tel or the word phone. And the OR in between is giving it a choice between these three words. And the anchor term or the primary keyword is Naveed Manzoor. So without Naveed Manzoor, this page or the word contact us is not relevant, meaning that both Naveed Manzoor being in the quotation marks has to be there, and the word contact us has to be found in the textual content or the on the body of that page. By the way, okay, so let's just stick to this. So this is simply that. This portion or these of some of these queries, we are trying to find contacts, phone numbers. Okay, that's why we are running these as examples. Later on, we'll run examples of, and you will see as they follow, to find, let's say, a job opportunity, or find something to do with resumes or HR department looking for hiring people. And then it'll come continue, do searches in the social media and so on. Now, let me ask you, um, Kristen, is in your opinion, do you think that in text can also be replaced by in URL? Okay, let me ask you, or let me just explain rather. Okay, if I had to use, instead of using in text here, okay, first of all, I would be fine tuning. Yeah, possibly if the word is repeated multiple times. Okay, I see what you're saying, but let's just discuss my perspective as well. So let me try that with you. Uh, Here uh, in A, I've written the word contact us. One thing that I would do, just to make sure, one thing I would do is to put the word contact us within quotes. Okay, I can do that. If I don't do contact us inside of the quotation mark, it would just simply, let's suppose I didn't do contact us in quotes. Now what in-text will do is look for the word contact and may drop the word us. Okay. Um, on the other hand, if I leave it open like this, it would definitely find the word contact and not necessarily have to be bound uh, to look for the word contact us together as if it is a single search phrase. And this makes it easy and opens up the query more. So perhaps, so we have a choice between contact us and just writing it the way it is set in capital A. Okay. Or we could have done it this way also, but this is more restricted, and may fail also. Now let's see what else we can do with using, instead of contact us with in text, I would like to replace it with in URL. So what should be the difference? If I did in URL, what am I referring to here? And how is it going to be different from A? So that is the question. If given a choice, I would also do in URL like this. because you see, in URL means that if I click on, as an example, if I click on a page, where is it? Sorry. If I click on AOFIRS, let's say, .org, and I say, let's go to the main site and let's navigate to contact us. This is typically how, websites are designed. They always have a section that say contact us. These are the wordings they use. Now, notice when I do contact, click on it, look how the address bar changes. Okay. It becomes like, now you have a URL, and in the URL, you have the word contact. So if I want to find something quickly, like this email address or any phone number here, or anything that is contained in the contact page, I could actually use in URL also, you know. So that could be another option for me. So I wouldn't say that um, in URL is not appropriate. I would say that at times this could be more appropriate than what we have in A. So B can be more useful than A at times. But if in URL does not contain the word in contact, which is not as common, what is common rather is that the word contact is used as part of the URL whenever you are taken to the contact us page, and more than likely you will find the telephone information about somebody on that page. So both A and B would work. And if A is to be compared, then A would give it a more sort of a broader search area, and in URL would be more restricted to that particular page. So A and B would both work. That's just something that I thought I'd mention, in spite of the fact that we are tight on time. Occasionally few concepts are best repeated, especially if they are going to be coming in the exams. So anyway, we did fourth. The fifth one, I believe this is where you could say that we are separating it, so that you know that here we will be looking for jobs, or looking, more like searching for resumes and HR kind of searches. So in the fifth one, we are looking for executive in Orlando, Florida, email address, phone, contact, minus jobs, minus hiring. So basically, this is more of a generic sort of search query. Mostly, this is what people do. They use only keywords and they place them typically how it is set in this example. So I'm just going to straight away put it in this address bar and then look it up closely. So we've got executive and executives, like in singular and plurals, as or being the option there. In Orlando, Florida, these are all treated as separate words, but none of these are enforced, meaning that they're optional for the search to look for because they are not within quotation marks, but they are kind of, more relevant for context, because you've got the location mentioned, what you're looking for, like email address here is mentioned, the address, contact information basically is what this search is looking for. So all the keywords are none within quotes. What is excluded is jobs and hiring, these two words. So whichever results are coming, they have to contain in any of these words, or at least one of the two, executive or executive, but should not include the word jobs or hiring anywhere in its body, as well as on the header, or none of the tags or any piece of that content on that page within the HTML should contain the word jobs or hiring. So, um, so what does it mean? Well, what it means is that you are not looking for a job. You are not looking for the companies that are hiring executives, but rather you're looking for information or context of executives that are already, presented, or their information is presented on those pages. Okay. So not to confuse the system to bring information about what is available as jobs for executives or if somebody is hiring. So that's why you got rid of these two words, jobs and hiring. Okay. Uh, all right. So that's simple one. Now there is another one. It says contact executives, Orlando. Okay. This could be a little bit interesting because it has a twist to uh, where we just we never used any advanced operators in this one, but the one you're looking at now is using the operator in URL. So in URL, we want the in URL to mandatorily contain the word contact because it's after the colon sign, and then to make a choice between executive or executives, and then look for anything that has to do with Orlando, Florida email address. Everything else is the same. So it is basically asking the search to look for pages that are actually contact us pages or contact pages. Okay. So if I run this, what do I find? So in URL, here in the URL, you could see, and I can even bring the URL up with, why is this not coming? Okay, here. Here is the URL link, and it has the word contact in it. More than likely on the page, which is where you are going to be taken if you click on it. This will be Florida Executive Women. So contact page will be, you will be taken directly to the contact page. Here on top, it says contact, and even the page would say contact or contact us. So this is definitely a contact page. Right? And this is given as a top navigation. Anyway, nothing complicated about this one, I should think. Then we've got, let's look at this one. So number 7, in this, you could see that we are again in URL defaulting to contact page. I don't want anything coming from government site. So I have used minus site colon and with the asterisk GOV executive. Um, okay. So let me clarify something here. When you have, actually, there should be a dot here. I may have made a mistake. So here, I don't want anything coming from government sites, but I do want executives, which is going to be resolved executive or executive, singular, all plural. Okay. And I have used Orlando, Florida email, again, everything the same. So what is the difference between what we were running earlier? The only difference is that we added minus this, meaning that I don't want anything coming from government sites. So I'm just simply going to use it this way. Okay. Uh, then I've got number 8. In number 8, in URL contact, again, site. Now here we have made, I'm just putting parentheses for your information to make it easy for me to explain. That is the only reason. Should put. And so with the parentheses, you can see it is going to resolve as a choice between these two, site.edu or site that are coming from, organizations like d.orgs. Both of these you want to be restrictors or to make sure that whatever results are brought to you are coming from educational institutions that has a domain extension with .edu and the organizations, or both. So invariably either .edu or org or both will be coming as part of your search results to be inclusive of everything that is followed after, like the words executives have to be found in those pages, Orlando, but between executive and executives, again, another thing that needs to be resolved or basically included, so that you write executive or executive singular plural to ensure that none of these are ignored or both are as important for you and would have a similar meaning. So you would rather use an OR, like the one like you've written like this with OR in between. So uh, this could be another uh, example. Then we've got example 10. Let's see what example 10 says. It says in text insurance claim in section contact us, in text email at. So this is a little bit more complex, I guess, because it has more of the advanced operators and a lot of um, occurrences of in text in the same search query. Um, I'm I'm assuming that you're able to at least understand what the objective of the search is. In my opinion, it is as if you are looking for insurance claims. These are the keywords we are talking about in the textual or in the page itself or in the deeper content or anywhere on that page. The word insurance claims, the word contact us, the word email, the symbol at. Now, whenever you're using the symbol at within quotes, is means that it is mandatory for it to find somewhere on that page. So this symbol needs to be available. It could mean two or three different things. One, that it should be part of the email, so it will be identified as if it is somewhat somewhere there, or it could be, a social media handle um, followed by the name. It could also mean that it is at the rate of a mathematical sign. But mainly the reason for its use is that it should be somewhere found in relationship to the word email. Okay. So it is a reinforcer rather. Okay. Um, and then it continues with the claim adjuster, loss control, claim examiner. Now, you see that sometimes it is important to segment the search query in such a way that it sort of makes it easier for the search to make comparison between options that are close to each other that needs to be followed in relationship to each other. For example, take this. Uh, I'm doing a temporary parenthesis for your understanding only. So let's suppose I segment this one, okay, and these are put together with the OR in between. So all of these in texts, and I made sure I'm using in text, comparing apples with apples. With OR operator, it is always a good idea that if you're using in text, use in text invariably for all other words, which are basically the ones that you need to compare within the textual portion, so that it is defaulting to or it is comparing exactly within that in text query and not with in title or without anything given to it. So we have used in text with the OR here, and these are the wordings that are now segmented and separated from whatever is before or this part, this portion. Now, this portion can again be segmented. Um, okay, so here we are giving the in text the absolute commands, or we are giving it a mandatory or a forced command to bring something like insurance claims in the in-text without using OR in between the next instance of in-text followed by contact us or in-text email. So all these become mandatory. In fact, all of these become mandatory. Okay. So what is mandatory is all of these that are highlighted right now, and what is given as the options with the over command is this set of information, or this set of in-text occurrences that are one next to another. And these are these should not be segmented. These should not be segmented further, because they are to be found against each other or with each other. All right. And parenthesis again has no value. So leave that out. That's just to explain. Now, when we run this command, what's going to happen? This is a very long one, and might be difficult sometimes to, okay. Okay, so it is doing its job. We wanted insurance claims to be mandatory. So insurance claims will always be there. Insurance claim. Email is another word, and contact us. So if I go to the page, this page, I should be able to see the words like Control F, email. Where is the word email? It's there. We've got one. Where is it? Well, it has to be there. It has found email, but it's not highlighting for some reason. Contact us is here. Email will be here. I can't see it. If you see it, let me know. But it is definitely there. What else was in the search? The @ sign. Let's look at the @ sign. Well, if it's the email, then the @ sign will be there too. Sometimes, if I don't find it easily like this, I just go to the source code. I do Control F, use the word mail, and here it is. And second time, email. Here is an email. It's in the line that has these words in it. And then I also have, so there is a lot of emails, words email, electronic mail software, email, telephone or email, electronic mail, mail, email, update mailing list. There are 4 instances of @ also. So in the Twitter handle, you could see @ is giving ONET. @ media is another one. So it's all there. Sometimes it's, if it is a lot of text and you don't want to go through the details, you can go to the source code. Sometimes the source code, the indexing is reading the source code. Sometimes the programmer or the person with the content writer don't want to uh, bring some of those symbols or some of the wordings to show up for the users, but it will always be present in the source code. So if it's anything hidden, it will be recorded. And therefore, that is the reason when you run the search queries with those to be found, and otherwise they don't show up, you know that they exist, but they are in the source code, and you can look them up from the source code, and then with reference to that you can pick up information and perhaps get close to where it belongs on the content page, and you can relate to it. Okay. Is this clear? It's kind of complex to explain, but it's just to show when sometimes the page is too complex and you can't, just by reading quickly, you can't find here. This is another reason. See, it has tabs, it has information that is in the details, in the custom, so it has a lot of layers to it, right? Okay, fine. So now let's just take a break here. Now, whichever ones we are able to finish today, we would call it the end of our learning the search queries, because we have to go to the second portion of, or you could say that there are two portions of module 2. One is what we've covered with creating the search queries. The other will be traditional search methods, or something that is considered industry standard for researchers to have a basic knowledge of, so that they understand and be able to talk the talk and walk the walk, as they say, for anyone to look at your research reports and be able to understand industry wide as commonly used search strategies, search methodologies, philosophies, and things of that nature. Three important aspects we'd like to cover quickly in next two sessions. One is there is something called sampling techniques that one has to get a sense of what is its implications, and what is it, first of all, what is its utilization and why it is important. Second part we do is surveys, why they're important, how do we do it, what are your responsibilities to collecting information through either surveys or through other sort of sources of collection, because fundamentally between sampling and between surveys and data collection methods, there are two types of data structures. One is qualitative and the other is quantitative. So to know what is the difference between them, and sometimes there is analytics which depends heavily on the nature of data that you've collected. If it is qualitative in nature, then you have to apply analytics, which is kind of ways in which you interpret those types of, or those blend of data that is in within it's classified as qualitative. Quantitative has its own methods of analytics. So that's what we'll be covering in the next two classes. There are other chapters also, like sources of information, um, about verification of information and all that. Those are very much theoretical, and all you have to do is read through the chapter. One read should be enough. Don't need to do a whole lot, and not many questions coming from those areas, but those are still for you to read through, because we can't cover those chapters. There are two or three of those, and that's the only thing that we will leave it for the students to cover. And then with the practice questions that you will get a sense of understanding what was the how you would relate that to your class sessions. And the more difficult parts, or you could say the more conceptual parts, got covered during the lectures. And so that's how we're going to follow up. Then, of course, we'll do the module 3 and module 4. 3 and 4 all that extensive, and pretty much can be covered in about 3 to 4 classes. In essence, we are left with 7 classes, I believe. That's going to cover everything in CIRS. So let's just take a quick break. And when I come back, we'll try to do some of the queries, especially the ones that you feel, Tristan, since you are the only one in the class, perhaps you could take that advantage and say, with what type of searches you do mostly, and what could be more useful, because I have about maybe 40 more queries that are there. I can't do all of them, so we'll have to pick and choose. So let's take a break. I'll see you in about 10-15 minutes. Thanks. Hi, Tristan. I'm back. Let me know if you are available now. Okay, good. So any particular search you're interested in? If you want, we can get to that or create one for your interest. Or you think we are okay with, just picking some of these? Um, and you'll have these as notes anyway, so you can go through them. But if there's something out of this which is, of your, if for your interest only, you can tell me. I can create something. Okay, so we got done with 11. Now number 12, you could see that if you want to look for something in portals like LinkedIn, all you have to do is use site, restricting it to linkedin.com URL or the domain of linkedin.com. In URL, you have used the word jobs. I have used in URL specifically with the word jobs. For any reason you think why we have done that? We could have used in text also. We could have used in title or any other advanced operator, but um, I looked for in URL and the word jobs only because I know the URL of LinkedIn. When you click on the job section, it does default to or has in the body of its stem of the URL the word jobs in it, and not just job, but the word jobs in it. Um, and I think we've learned that thing about in URL, that it is very finicky and very particular about singular and plurals. And anything that you use, any word that you use with in URL has to be accurate and has to be present in the uh, query in the address bar of that URLs of that particular website. So I'm going to have to go to LinkedIn to explain this. Uh, Let me go to LinkedIn. So here is the jobs section. If I click on jobs, I should be able to see the word jobs with an S. So this is in plural. If I put in URL job and use it as singular and not as plural, I will not be able to run this query. Okay. So coming back to, so here I've checked that the word jobs with the plural is important. So jobs is the page it will take me to. And on that page of jobs, within the textual part or the content of that page, I should be able to find the word, either word remote or the word freelance, right? Right. But or the word copy editor or proofreader or copywriter, Florida, and the Florida could be another, I guess, word um, that is not copywriter Florida, but Florida could be can be a separate word. Okay. So now that I have remote and freelance, what am I doing here? Hold on. Remote and freelance. So remote or freelance, these could be two options against in text, whereas the word copy editor, proofreader, or copywriter could be another set like this, as if you have to assume the parenthesis to segment these. Yeah. So this is how it's going to work. In-text find remote or freelance, and then to find copy editor, proofreader, or copywriter anywhere on the body of text or even in the title, meaning that on that page, these three words can be a choice or all can be available, but not necessarily in the in-text or not necessarily intact with the in-text command. So it could be in the URLs, it could be in the um, header or any other tag. But here in-text is only in the body of text to make a choice between the word remote and the word freelance. Okay. But in order for me to improve on this query a little bit more, I would rather do with remote against freelance to make it more powerful. I would put it like this, put another instance of in-text. So to compare apples with apples here, that concept. And by putting the quotation marks, the first two words within quotes is automatically separating or segmenting these from the part that is following the word freelance. So this part is separated only because the first word copy editor is within quotation marks. Otherwise, freelance copywriter would have been added. Um, Supposing if I had removed the quotation marks like this, then what would happen that in text would also attach the word freelance with copy editor, right? So for me to make sure that it is separated, whereas the freelance and remote are compared as a choice, the word editor needs to be separated so that it doesn't join freelance. I'm going to put this one within quotation marks. Okay. So now the query is slightly better or improved. Now the word Florida, if I want this to be emphasized, I would just put it within quotation marks. This way, this word is segmented or separated from all three right here. Okay. So that's what the quotation mark also will be able to do. Okay. Because whereas these appear to be a choice with the OR in between, and there is no OR between copywriter and Florida, yet you have put the word Florida within quotes. So this becomes mandatory, and everything before Florida, all three are choices. So let's suppose I copy this and run it in the search. At times you will find that when you've created the search query, theoretically it seems correct and you followed all the rules, but when you insert it in search, it doesn't work. That means, well, don't have to get stressed at that time. You just have to apply a method which would allow for it to get a breather or a room, like removing some of the quotation marks, some of the other restraints, just so that it starts to bring some sort of results back to you. So, you could actually, in that sense, be fine tuning or making or optimizing that by using your own knowledge of how you can open it a little bit to give the search engine the opportunity to bring results outside of those constraints. So I've just copied and pasted that search query, and I want to see what it's going to do. So in the LinkedIn, I'm finding jobs, the word job. So when I click, see, look at this, it says copywriter jobs. In URL, you got the word jobs. In text, you got the word freelance. When you click on it, you will be able to find either the word remote or the word freelance in the textual. So freelance. See, here is the word remote. In the first one, I'm trying to find the word. So between if you have a choice between the word remote and freelance, it will find at least one of the two. In this one, it is finding remote. Remote. So the word remote is favored more, and here is the word freelance. So anyway, I think the query is working and it is giving us, exactly what we require. Florida is invariably present everywhere because we put that within quotation marks. Copywriter, copy editor, all those words are proofreaders, proofreading. Okay. Now, in this query number 13, you will see that we are also enforcing it to look for the pages that contain a salary range between $36,000 and $45,000. This gets a little bit tricky to our experience, even though Google suggests that the symbols like dollar sign is entertained, numeric characters that can be placed between the two dots. But we see that a more of a you could say that more safer way of searching is not to use the symbols like dollar sign. Dollar sign is for anything to do with money. Uh, so, but it theoretically it should work, but somehow it has a little bit of a jumpy nature. So I'm going to try this search as is and see what it brings back and see if the two dots are working as they're supposed to. So this is what I'm after. The word salary and 36,000 to 45,000 in LinkedIn. Let me try this. $65K, $72K, $66K, $51K. What was the range? 36 to 45,000. See, because these are listed and they're dynamic code and this information is pulled, it might be on the second page, third page, fourth page, wherever it may be, because as the pages are being collected or they're being cached, and the difference between its collection and where the dynamic code is changing and new information keeps coming. While it is collecting one set of information, another information starts to change, and then it gets superseded or it gets collected in the next cycle. So whenever there is this dynamic code happening, the figures keep changing, but whatever is being collected is also being indexed and therefore is also available when you are doing the search. So if these are the figures or numbers, the likelihood is that they change a lot more, far more changes than the positions or the job descriptions and things of that nature, because they would stay intact, but these numbers keep changing. Now I'm going to try another thing with this query, which is by just getting rid of, where is my query? Uh, this was the one. Now, supposing I get rid of the dollar sign and see what happens. I'm just going to put 36K and 45K. Let's try this way. Nothing's coming. So I would just put the number 36,000 and 45,000. So the only symbols it will recognize is the dollar sign for the price and nothing else. No other symbol to our knowledge would work. Best is not to use the alpha characters, but let's suppose I use 36,000 and 45,000 as a, let me find that uh, in the salary. Copywriter, no longer 50,000 to 60,000, 50,000 to 60,000. But this is not what we were looking for. We are looking for 36,000. So nothing that I can do to improve this, because this is what Google has decided to give me for using the range, which is not looking at the 36,000 and 45,000. Rather, it is giving me a range, which is, a will on at the will of its own. So 50,000 to 60,000. So these are the ranges coming. Anyway, it's supposed to behave or work as intended or as described by Google. And like I said, we've been following this as an error and trying to figure out when Google is going to fix it. But this is where we are having a bit of a problem with two dots these days. Hopefully, it'll go away. So anyway, you can still try two dots to at least get a range of salary, but don't use anything other than the dollar sign, or better still, just use the, you know, the numbers. That is safer. But with the two dots, you would see that the zip codes or the range of zip codes work really fine. So there is no error in that. The error is in finding the prices or things like salaries. These are what is causing a bit of an issue. Now, another thing that one would find very convenient to use and perhaps easy to navigate to directly is when you are trying to find something within, a certain country or from a certain region of the world that's outside of US. You would see like sites which are default to or somehow have in it a symbol which is an abbreviation of the country. Like UK, for example, UK LinkedIn, if you look at their links, you find that it says uk.linkedin.com. That's how it starts. If it's US, it's just linkedin.com. So if you use site uk.linkedin.com, you are now restraining all your results to be coming from a UK LinkedIn. And you could see that this is how this search is constructed. All right. And you want to also identify the city in UK. So you put the word London here. You can even emphasize London by putting this within quotation marks. You can improve this search more by using in URL. Let's suppose it is jobs. Then what you could do is put the word freelance within quotes just to improve on it, and then put the OR in between, so that now this has become one set of search terms to work with each other as a choice. And this is separated as a command to ensure, or these are absolute commands to ensure that those pages are coming from the page which is navigate direct navigation to the jobs page, and the site is another restrictor, again an absolute command restricting it to this domain. So ideally one set, second set, third set, and the fourth inclusion. Okay, so I say let's call it A, let's call it B, let's call it C, and let's call it D. Whereas A is the absolute, or you could say ABS absolute command, ABS command, one absolute command, two options command, three, and forced keyword. Okay. So this is how you can segment. If you like it to be further divided or parenthesized, I would say that these are grouped like this. Then we have here we have used the date. Everything else on the left hand side you could see is basically, it's understandable, not really an issue to know what it is trying to do. But what we have used differently in this one is the after and before period. So to restrict something within after and before, you could run it with these two together. Okay. And then I've showed you different ways in which you can write the dates, or what is acceptable and what is not. And there was a link I gave you the last time, if you remember, which is, did you get a chance to look up that video, Tristan? The link I gave you that talked about the use of the before and after operators. All right. Okay. The link you mean? Okay. Mm. So I'm just putting the link here. All right. You can just copy and paste it and it will run on its own. 16, number 16. Uh, Anything extraordinary in 16? I don't see it, except that there is a lot of wordings here. And one thing we can do with this is to see if we can improve on this. If we can um, make it more like kind of fine tune it, I guess. I feel that there is slight room for that. So let me try it and just call it 16A. So I'm looking for in URL hiring, jobs, career, these three terms. Because these three words logically are used for, anyone who's offering jobs or, the career section that they have in the websites, or if somebody is hiring, uh, word hiring in URL, not a good idea. I would not agree with the word in URL that is followed by the word hiring. Why? Because in the URL, the sections or the main navigations may not necessarily have the word hiring. Instead, what could be found is jobs or careers or things like that. So hiring would not be the best thing to use with the in URL. So I'm going to correct it now. Okay, what's going on? In title, jobs available. Okay, can live with that. Career opportunity can live because in title, like it may be there that the title of the page might have this as something that defines what's in that website. So maybe words like jobs available, career opportunities might work from home. That's a very important one. Remote jobs, yes. In text or in the body of that page, you could find words like software engineer, application architect, uh, in text. Try to make it a habit to use the operators as often as possible whenever you're using or against. See what might happen, and I'll give you I'll tell you what's going to happen when we don't put after or, where in text is followed by or and another declaration of in text is not put in there. What might happen is that it certainly will make sure that the body of text has the word software engineer as a mandatory return, but application architect may not necessarily be found on the in-text or where the in-text tags are queried. They could be header, they could be even in the URL. So that's the only thing that might just change the number of results when you compare it when you are instead using in-text uh, like this. Okay, you will find there is a little bit of difference in the number of search results, and I told you the reason why it is so. So in-text application architect, and then I should also put another OR here and then use in-text again. So now what have I accomplished? I have separated this part. If you ask me, looking at it carefully, I'd say that since I am just improving this query, I want you to look at it from my point of view and how I would do my search or how I would make it slightly better or more tighter, more focused query. So what have I done here? Again, I'm going to separate these with parenthesis to show you what's happened here. Now I'm segmenting them. I'm just using parenthesis to show you how I try to, you know, entitle career, entitle remote job, in two. This is what I've done. What I did is that I used in URL twice to give it a choice between the word jobs or career. Both might work if it's in the URL. In the title portion, I could do with the word jobs available or career opportunity or work from home. So this is segmented as well as if it is the second run of using in title after followed by the in URL. In the third one, I used multiple instances of in text and compared it with the job titles right here. Okay. And in the last segment, I wanted to contain the words like flexible or contract or Florida, California. So basically flexible and contact could be again be segmented as like this, and then in text Florida. So here is the location as the context. Here is the nature of the job, flexible or contract related. Here is the job titles and uh, sorry, here is the job titles. So that's how it is segmented. Now I'm going to remove all of these. Don't have a lot of time to run it, but you can see what I did and why I did that. On the other hand, if the query starts to become flaky and if it's not doing the job well, you may want to revert back to giving it or opening it up a little bit more by removing the instances of in title, let's say over here, or removing the, you know, or you can bring it back to its position as in 616 instead of 16A. All right. But you can open it slowly. You can get rid of, one sort of segment or one part where, multiple instances of index can be removed. Just one is enough, and then use the odds rather than, repeatedly using index. So that's how you're going to keep opening it up in case if it is too tight and if it's not giving results, right? Anyway, I just want to remove the parentheses right now and leave it as notes. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, we should have a little bit extra time. We can hopefully finish it of to at least a few more. In the 17, I'm showing you an example of how we can look for, jobs in Twitter accounts or social media account. Mostly the hashtag that we have used here, followed by the wordings, are, the kind of symbols which are commonly used by social media sites. So Twitter uses it, Facebook uses it, so many social media sites use it. But there is one thing that I thought might be of interest, and in fact, it could be very important as a concept to grasp. One thing about hashtag is that when it was invented initially, it was a symbol for the tags, which is an abbreviation of something, or it is one single word used to define or identify with the very large topic, or the it could be a class for topics. So it is a grand or a meta layer word which is identified, or which is which in itself represents or gives a story or gives details of what is under it, or what are the different layers of information that it can be identified with. So those were tags. Tags were, extensively, they were used on all sorts of websites, not just social media, but it was something that would open up a larger portion of the topics. So to use a smaller symbol or a small words followed by this symbol was easy to lay to put on the website, because it did not occupy a large space. So you could put several tags in there, and those tags are also identified with or are symbolic to the hashtag. Later on, the social media like Twitter started to adopt these, and also along with the hashtag, the @ also was adopted to allow it to become a handle or a unique ID of someone, that with the was given a unique identifier for that individual to have, or to be found by, you know by, I guess, by the by the symbol followed by the name, or that unique pseudonym that is given or taken by someone. So it they became a kind of symbols which are somewhat identified with finding the social media accounts of those individuals, or even to get to the topics within social media accounts or within social media websites, to identify with or to find the location of information that relates to or belongs to that particular tag or hashtag or @. Um, it is, in that sense, vague enough that it would bring you a lot of results. But at the same time, the only recourse when you're trying to find something or query something inside of social media accounts. So, in the case of Twitter, for instance, we have used hashtag jobs, we have used hashtag copy editors. So, these are the tags which are definitely going to query these specific tags only in the twitter.com site. At the same time, we have used before and after to give it a period to know, if we can get information within these tags that belongs to this period, right? Which is before and after. So let's just run it as an example. And by the way, we can always later on, and because we have used twitter.com, we don't have to put in title, in text, or nothing of that sort. Let's leave it open, give it enough space for the search to find everything on the page, or anything relating to twitter.com that is bringing information from these tags. So I'm not going to make it in title, in text, nothing of that sort. Okay. So I'm going to, and I guess one has to be logged into twitter.com to be able to query that site. And I'm not logged into it, but let me try it. My account on this website, I don't remember my password either. So let me see if I can. Anyway, okay. So full-time and part-time support, post copywriter. Okay, no, this is twitter.com. This is the one. We do HR agency, apply now. See, Another problem with the hashtags is that individuals or those that are account holders, they can also create their own tags. So there is a tags within tags. So there is meta tags and then there is sub layers of tags. And therefore, it can bring a lot more information which you thought otherwise would just be coming from the hashtag jobs. Even someone who is, using this space of Twitter as a registered user can create their own tags, and even those can get queried. Okay. Uh, so anyway, so the first one, job vacancy. So you could see we've got tags like hashtag CVS, job seekers, jobs. All of these are there. All right. And there are other tags also like copy editor, proofreader, copywriter. So they would also start to show up from different accounts within Twitter of, whoever could be the different members. And especially if their Twitter accounts are public, or there are certain Twitter privacies that you can actually, um, um, have a control. You can create a group within Twitter for your own, Twitter followers. And so there are so many variations of it. Excuse me. So unless something is private, which is not indexable otherwise by Google, it will be available to you in these search results. Jobs, recruiters, jobs. Jobs is more common, it seems. Proofreaders, I'm trying to find. Proofreader, copy editors. Now, the other thing is the dates. After March 2021. March. So this is April. This is May, April. Okay. Before May 2020. So nothing after May is coming. So the date is doing all right. But if I want to get more results, I would just get rid of, let's say, before. And 2009-50 now. 74,600, of course. Now we've got more results. So what if I use after May, sorry, 2023, let's say March 1st. So I should get the latest ones. So these are the newest ones. In May, these were the jobs. And even if the jobs description or the name of the designation is not mentioned here, if you click on it, you will certainly find it. See here, jobs, copy editors, proofreaders, and I think what we should have done is that let the symbol jobs be there, but the description is a little bit of a different story, I would think. So let me just separate this one by putting copy editor within quotes. Now I'm able to find copywriters, copywriters, copywriters. Now it made it easy for me to find proofreaders. Now it is doing a better job. Just because I thought the hashtag with the jobs is a totally different, uh, you know, um, it identifies with the idea to find something in the area of jobs. And we needed to separate the the title of the jobs, uh, so that they don't get confused or is not before, which used to be another OR after hashtag jobs. I removed that. And then I made this appear as if it is competing with each other, all three titles, and the hashtag jobs is separated as if it is a totally different section which has to be found, or within which these titles have to be found. So I got better results, or the quality of results got better. Okay. 18 is not as relevant. Um, not going to do this one, but this could be of interest. So let's look at number 19 now, just for quick glance to see that in the URL, it could take us to a section which is tags or tag section of the pages, because there are sometimes, areas where you click on and it takes you to the different tags on those websites, especially social media sites. Then within those, you could be looking for, let's say, hashtag or @ because, certain tags can start with @ or others which are specifically for, mm, just a symbol for generic symbol for the tags. You can use hashtag. For Twitter, you can use @ so basically it is going to look for both these symbols as a choice. And the words that they need is hiring, jobs, copy editor. So whereas hiring and jobs are not mandatory, but I want copy editor to be separated. And that's how I'm going to look at it. Hiring or jobs. Maybe this is a better thing to do. So let me try this one. First of all, let me undo what I did and then call it 19A and make changes there. Or I could say that I write let me try this. Hiring or jobs. Proof copy editor jobs. Hiring or jobs. Now where is my tags? I'm going to click on the first one. Okay. I didn't get to what I was expecting, so I'm going to do another one. I'm looking for @ and I'm looking for hashtag. Both were optional, but because they were to be found um, as a choice, then I would expect at least one of them to be there so that we can, oh, here where it is hiding. See these. So if I open the source code and I look for the @ I'm able to find it. In fact, there are 340 of them. And then if I want to look for the hashtag, no, these are part of the script. This is not the words I'm looking for. Anyway, what I would like to tell you here is that when you see in the footer side, you have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, you have Twitters. So you could see that it says @Upwork on Twitters. So definitely there'll be hashtags or something to do with the social media websites. And that's what we are after. And probably that is what happened in this one also. So they're hidden behind what we call anchor tags or the images, which has a dynamic code behind, which when you click on will take you to the exact website or social media site that is connected with or have to do with the handle of that particular, navigation that takes you to that account of whichever site is it represents, like Upwork. So it might be @Upworks or hashtag Upworks. That's how it is going to show up. Um, and then there is these words: hiring, jobs, copy editor, proofreading. They're all coming. So I guess for me, more important was where to find @ and hashtag and what do they represent. Another use of hashtag is to find email addresses. For instance, and we have some of those examples here also. We'll be covering those as well. I think those examples are. You have those examples? Yeah, this one, for example. In this example 23, you could see that we have used in-text @honeywell.com. So here the function of Honeywell @.com is to find the email address for the domain @honeywell.com. So to find email addresses of those that work in Honeywell or have email addresses that ends with @honeywell.com, that can be queried using @. In text, we wanted to look for the contact. In text, email, in text, honeywell.com. So we could have used, instead of in text, in URL also. But we could, when we say in text, we are looking for that page that in its content has the word contact in it. Um, so it could be any navigation. It doesn't have to be a contact page. That's why we did not restrict it within URL. It could be any other page which has a reference of the word contact in there. And you're looking for in that same page the word email. You're looking for at honeywell.com, and you are looking for anything to do with marketing. And so you have used within text, within quotes, the asterisk twice, which is the external truncation, they call it. And in this one, and we've done this example also, that even if you're going to use asterisks before and after, let's say the word marketing, but you did not put this within quotation marks, it could become, um, you know, f- uh, what would I say? It would become, mm, it would become too open for the search to find anything relevant for you, because the reference to both asterisk is just one word, and therefore it could be many combinations. But the soon as you put it within quotation marks, it restricts itself to actually maybe one or two words alongside the word marketing. Um, idea over here is to find the first word that would be a job description or a job title, perhaps, which has to do with marketing. So it could be a manager um, marketing and sales, or it could be anything to do with marketing. Could think of 10 different things. So I used the asterisk before and after so that it could be a filler for anything starting with or ending with something, but in the middle should be the word marketing. Or it could be anything to do with sales, but it could be, could be manager sales or executive sales, we don't know. And it could end with something also. But asterisk also means that it is mandatory for it to be filled with some word. So it cannot be an empty space, or it cannot be left empty. So whatever it may be, it could be a longer job title with the word sales and marketing in it. So we put in text these two, okay? And here we have not used the second instance of in text, just so that it is more open, okay? So this is where we have actually made a use of at to find the email. If I run it now in the search box, let's see what the outcome is. We got VO collection info at honeywell.com. Mm, just clicking on any of these results at random. Regional query is to find the word contact, the word email, and something to do with marketing or sales. So we've got contact, uh, honeywell.com, communication at honeywell.com, senior director of sales, regional manager, sales. So at least you got a lot of email addresses and a lot of words that has the word sales in it, and descriptions like regional sales manager and so on, and the word contact us. So this worked out quite all right. Okay. Um, 21 and 22 is easy to understand. We did cite with .gov.edu and so on, but used an OR command for it to work. Then we in text, we use VP, executive. We are trying to find the information about, when you are doing data scraping or doing sales leads or contact information you want to collect. These are some of the queries that you can do. So typically this query is going to bring information about all these positions. And the word email here is emphasized, so put inside of the quotation. So this is not an OR anymore. This is separate. While in text, all these positions are separate, so segmented. And this is another segment. So we've got three segments here. One that is going to bring it from these three different types of sites. And in the text, these are the different positions or naming the title of whoever you want information for from the page, and email is what you are after. So that's emphasized. Okay. You can even look for the phone numbers, like this one, for example, is segmented as okay. So this gets resolved, this one gets resolved, this one is emphasized, this one gets resolved, and this one is emphasized. We did this one already. Okay, another, now I'm going to start talking about, when you're looking for products and services. So let's say that you need information on, and I'm going to separate it. So under this line, we will be dealing with some examples of how we're going to do products and services. Looking, for example, for a list of furnitures, okay? In liquidation, it could be a liquidation or auction, and you want email as a word that should bring about, the list of or the emails, addresses of these companies or businesses that are offering liquidation and auction. Um, it is in the province of Ontario. You want list or directory. So let me again just use my parentheses. Okay, so this is list or directory itinerary. These three are compared against each other or with each other. Um, this furniture is mandatory, emphasized, liquidation. And see, if you put furniture within quotation, you're automatically separating the word liquidation and auction as separate to resolve between each other. This one is emphasized. So these are acting independently, whichever ones are within quotes. Ontario is, the province, but it's not forced. And then in text is another one. Okay. All right. So we've got the PDF files that are going to be looked into for the listing of furniture. It could be an auction or liquidation. You want email listing, you want it in Ontario, and you want in text the word 2021. So any of those lists that has that does not have 2021 would not be useful. So for today, I would rather use it like 2023 instead. Okay. Citation judgments you can easily look for if you know the case or the name, or um, you can look for the judge protontory. We have that in Canada and not in US. Cited, citation, whatever. There is a whole lot of examples in this area, but I'm not going to cover that as much as I want to. And it's not even that complex. It's about 4 or 5 queries you can look it up. What is important, in my opinion, is query number 28, which has use of asterisk. And you can see here the emphasis is on the placement of where the asterisk is. You could see that it is also confined within the quotes for it to act with maintaining relationship of finding in relationship to what is available. Look for word or alphanumeric or whatever, it may be, can even be a symbol. So if it is, let's say, a trademark mark act that you need to query within Canada, and there could be a rule or there could be some citation reference or anything that is a subsection of something, and you have as a reference other subsections available to you which are somewhat similar, or the way in which they are written or how they are structured or presented, you have that structure available to you. You can use it as a reference, and for the one that you're not able to find, you can put asterisk to fill that empty space to get the right wordings, or you know characters or whatever needs to be put in. So this is, you know one of the queries that would bring you the trademark act. Let's try it out. I haven't done this for a long time. Let me try if it's still functional, because sometimes format changes also. So let's try this one. Here it is, Canada Trademark Office filing, Trademark Act RC. This is the one. See, this is the one, trademark. This is what you're looking for. Okay. All right. So unless you write it exactly how it should be, plugging in what is missing, it will probably not act as intended. And there are some complexities in it, like there are two dots that you could not otherwise see. If you look carefully, there is two dots as well. But I think I have given a reference to where you can find more information about this, because it is too detailed and it is explained really well in the book. Um, and it is in one of my recordings. So I would say that it could be something that you're looking at for exams, might show up, but it could be one of those very, very hard questions. Sometimes the examiner don't, if they're getting incorrect answers very, very much, very frequently, they don't even put it in the exam. And it's important for some people who do legal research, but not as much for just anyone. Yeah. If you're looking for apartments for rental, you can use this query. I think we've done enough of these examples. The only thing that I would like to touch upon, but it's going to take me about 10 to 15 minutes, is finding the time and date stamps on certain web pages which are otherwise not discoverable just because it's not visible to you. How to get to that? And the second is, what would you expect to get back in search results if you use a different language to query something, or where you are accessing the same information from somewhere else outside of, let's say, geographical confines of countries or beyond boundaries of countries, uh, what would make the results biased, and how to overcome that. So that could be the last segment I would probably cover in the first 10-15 minutes in the next session. Thereafter, I'm going to start with the traditional research methods, as I was talking about. Rest of the queries are there, and some of these, like I said, I will do in the class next time, 10-15 minutes. So use these as the type of queries which could be really helpful for you to get a good grip of on and get a good understanding of, and see if you can improve on these as well on your own, and then make your own sort of notes to see where you are at with it, if you were successful, unsuccessful, or and most importantly, these could be the kind of queries which you could expect in the exams. So that's why it is important for everyone to just use them as a reference. And I've put them in your notes. All right. So with this, I'm just going to conclude our today's session. It was a lot of queries we did. Hopefully, I'm able to explain them as best. Um, and then I'll see you day after tomorrow, Tristan. I guess Hannah didn't show up today, so it was just you and me. Now, in the next session, I hope at least there is at least one or two people joining us. For now, I'd just say goodbye to you and good evening or good afternoon. Where are you are you in the East Coast somewhere in US, or West Coast, or what is your time zone? Oh, East Coast. Okay, same timeline. Thank you for the kind remarks, Tristan. It was it's if it weren't for you, I'll be talking to the machine. So more of a thanks to you for being there. Okay. Okay. Take care. Bye bye for now. See you.